Right, first to the news that has just broken. England's tour of Pakistan is off for both the men's and women's team. We can speak to James Cole about this now. James, very good evening. Why have England taken this decision?
Hi Mike, this tour's been in doubt for several weeks now. It escalates from the deteriorating security situation in neighbouring Afghanistan, as we've seen that get worse and worse as the date of the UK and US troop withdrawal became closer and closer. This tour in Pakistan became more doubtful, and then on Friday the writing was really on the wall, because New Zealand, just minutes before they were supposed to play their first game of their tour in Pakistan, New Zealand withdrew from that tour. They cancelled that tour, citing a credible security threat on the team. Now, England and New Zealand used the same security advisor. Both games are due to take place in Rawalpindi in the same region, so it was hard on Friday immediately to see how this tour was going to go ahead. And the ECB board have confirmed this evening that the tour has been cancelled. These are the reasons they give. They say the mental and physical well-being of our players and support staff remains our highest priority, and this is even more critical given the times we're currently living in. We know there are increasing concerns about travelling to the region and believe that going ahead will add further pressure to a playing group who have already coped with long periods operating in restricted COVID environments. So the ECB board have decided, because of the security threat and the background to the whole team having to live in bio bubbles, we've got a busy winter, they've got the World Cup ahead, it wouldn't be fair to put the players through this tour. But good news for Pakistan, because there will be worries from the Pakistan board point of view as to how long it could mean that international cricket doesn't take place in the country. The ECB say that they are sorry, but they emphasise that they have an ongoing commitment to touring there in 2022, which is key because England haven't toured there for 16 years. Australia are due to tour there in February. They haven't toured there for over 20 years. And that all stems from the 2009 terror attacks in Lahore, when gunmen attacked the Sri Lankan team bus. And you just hope for the future of Pakistan cricket that we don't see another long period without international cricket in Pakistan.
Indeed, and the ECB owes them, doesn't they? Because they came over here during lockdown to play and keep cricket going. You mentioned, James, the T20 World Cup there, just a month away now. So what has all this done to England's preparations?
Well, what it does mean is that some players can go and play in the IPL, I would imagine, for longer than they would have been able to before, because this tour overlapped with the IPL, which has just resumed. They do have 2 warm-up games in the UAE, England, before that World Cup. So they'll have 2 games to prepare, and they may decide, I suspect they'll decide that that is sufficient, plus the experience that the guys will get playing in the UAE in the IPL. It does also allow players to have a bit of time off, doesn't it? It creates a bit more time at home, potentially, which will relieve the pressure of being in the bubble throughout the World Cup. So there are silver linings to this cloud, and I'm sure that Owen Morgan would argue that actually players playing in the IPL will give them crucial experience against world-class opposition in conditions that they're set to experience at the World Cup as well.
Yeah, indeed. But if you're an England cricket fan, bit of a blow, isn't it? The 5th Test match against India called off with the series in the balance. Now the Pakistan tour called off, and doubts over the Ashes. So what's the latest on that tour?
Well, we're hearing that England will find out within the next week exactly what's going to happen with the Ashes. Now, the Ashes is not a security threat. Obviously, it's a very different issue. The issue with the Ashes is that the Australian travel restrictions are so tight that England's players are concerned that their families won't be able to come out and join them, so that England are going to be in Australia for the best part of 3 months off the back of the World Cup in the UAE. Now, for some players with family, that's a very, very tough prospect, and they feel that if the quarantine restrictions aren't relaxed by the head of states in Australia, if they don't make exemption for the players' families, they're not willing to travel. They are so far unable to get an answer from the Australian government on this. The ECB have been pushing the Australian government for an answer, and we understand that in the next week they should know. But yeah, the Ashes tour still remains very much in doubt at this stage.